Hello, we're reading from George Orwell, 1984. Classic, classic, classic. Um, I've been reading this since I was in college. Uh, it really gave me a sense of how to deal with dystopian paradigms because, as a black man, especially once I decided to start to become knowledgeable, I was going to live in a dystopian paradigm. I was just going to live that way. And this has always been one of the books that have helped me. Winston roused himself and sat up straighter. He let out a belch. The gin was rising from his stomach. His eyes refocused on the page. He discovered that while he sat helplessly musing, he had also been writing, as though by automatic action, and it was no longer the same cramped, awkward handwriting as before. His pen had slid voluptuously over the smooth paper, printing in large, neat capitals, "Down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother," over and over again, filling half a page. He could not help feeling a twinge of panic. It was absurd, since the writing on those particular words was not more dangerous than the initial act of opening the diary. But for a moment he was tempted to tear out the spoiled pages and abandon the enterprise altogether. But he did not do so, however, because he knew it was useless. Whether he wrote "Down with Big Brother" or whether he refrained from writing it made no difference. Whether he went on with the diary or whether he did not go on with it made no difference. The thought police would get him just the same. He had committed, would still have committed, even if he had never set pen to paper, the essential crime that contained all others in itself. Thought crime, they called it. Thought crime was not a thing that could be concealed forever. You might dodge successfully for a while, even for years, but sooner or later they were bound to get you. It always it was always at night. The arrest invariably happened at night. The sudden jerk out of sleep, the rough hand shaking your shoulder, the lights glaring in your eyes, the ring of hard faces round the bed. In the vast majority of cases there was no trial, no report of the arrest. People simply disappeared, always during the night. Your name was removed from the registers. Every record of everything you had ever done was wiped out. Your one-time existence was denied and then forgotten. You were abolished, annihilated. Vaporized was the usual word. For a moment, he was seized by a kind of hysteria. He began writing in a hurried, untidy scrawl. "They'll shoot me, I don't care. They'll shoot me in the back of the neck. I don't care, down with Big Brother. They always shoot you in the back of the neck. I don't care, down with Big Brother." He sat back in his chair, slightly ashamed of himself, and laid down his pen. The next moment he started violently. There was a knocking at the door. Already he sat as still as a mouse, in the futile hope that whoever it was might go away after a single attempt. But no, the knocking was repeated. The worst thing of all would be to delay. His heart was thumping like a drum, but his face, from long habit, was probably expressionless. He got up and moved heavily toward the door. It's part two. As he put his hand to the doorknob, Winston saw that he had left the diary open on the table. "Down with Big Brother" was written all over it, in letters almost big enough to be legible across the room. It was an inconceivably stupid thing to have done, but he realized even in his panic he had not wanted to smudge the creamy paper by shutting the book while the ink was wet. He drew in his breath and opened the door. Instantly a warm wave of relief flowed through him. A colorless, crushed-looking woman with wispy hair and a lined face was standing outside. "Oh, comrade," she began in a dreary, whiny sort of voice, "I thought I heard you come in. Do you think you can come across and have a look at our kitchen sink? It's got blocked up and—" It was Miss Parsons, the wife of a neighbor on the same floor. Miss was a word somewhat discountenanced by the party. You were supposed to call everyone comrade, but with some women one used it instinctively. She was a woman of about 30, but looking much older. One had the impression that there was dust in the creases of her face. Winston followed her down the passage. These amateur repair jobs were an almost daily irritation. Victory mansions were old flats built in the 1930s or thereabouts, and were falling to pieces. The plaster flaked constantly from the ceilings and walls, and pipes burst in every hard frost. The roof leaked whenever there was snow, and the heat system was usually running at half steam when it was not closed down altogether from motives of economy. Repairs, except what you could do for yourself, had to be sanctioned by remote committees, which were liable to hold up even the mending of a window pane for 2 years. Of course, it's only because Tom isn't home, said Miss Parsons vaguely. I wonder, you hear people disappearing, and in other countries, you hear people disappearing. I wonder how many non warrant searches ended up in people just disappearing, cops taking people out of their home and their families not knowing where they are, right? Um, I would say it's scary, but it's becoming commonplace, and that's maybe how these kind of tyrannies happen. You you just get so accustomed to it, and we all just start accepting it. But I think we're learning, and I think we're going to come out of this thing here, and hopefully we don't go deep into a different kind of dystopia. Maybe we'll go into some kind of humane society we could all develop. Um, we'll see. Until next time, I appreciate your help, and I say take care of your mind, take care of your body, and be safe.